and welcome to Who Dares Rolls. I am your host, Mike B. Here we are with a change from our usual scheduled viewing. I'm going to do a list, because we like it, everyone loves a list. We're doing a list of some of my favourite game mechanisms. Stuff in games that make me go, oh, I like that a lot. Stuff that really gets the juices flowing, can rise you to the occasion to get you thrilled to play it. And also I'm going to do some ones that I don't like so much. You know, all that's going in here. So anyway, that's crack on right now, I think, with my top 5 game mechanisms. There's some stuff I think is not so great. This is one that when I first encountered it, I thought was a fantastic mechanism. I think this was the first time it turned up. It was definitely the first time I'd encountered it, the best of my knowledge, in a game, and it's been subsequently used in others, but this was the first defining moment, and I still like it, and I still think it's a great mechanism, and I always enjoy it if I see it in a game. And that is Terra Mystica, and it's the player boards, removing the pieces from the player boards that give you more powers. And there's a brilliant part of the game. You're building your city in Terra Mystica. It's a very Euro game, but it's a thematically kind of rich Euro game, if we can say that. It is complicated. It's a heavier one, lots of moving parts. But yeah, this whole mechanism, and also to a certain extent the bowl mechanism, is kind of cool, funky, but it's a bit gimmicky. But the removing pieces off your board, giving you more powers as you play. Brilliant, brilliant thing. It's kind of where do you go? It's what you pluck from that and build and make use of. You get something for doing something. It's just a nice little touch. It definitely was co-opted into Scythe. Stegmaier, Mr. Jimmy, borrowed it for Scythe, and it was used very well in that, but this was the first time I'd ever encountered it. And it was cool. It is cool. And I always, when I come across it, I go, oh, this is good. I like this. Getting stuff and doing stuff. Cool. So there's that. Next up is June's Fight system, which is a really cool little nuanced bit of fighting going in there. When you have a fight in June, you have pick a leader to put into there, so you put a battle wheel. You assign how many of your troops that you're going to be putting into the fight. You put a leader in there, and even you've got some cards on top of that for defense and attack. It's a very simple process, but it has a real chunk of nuance to fight, a bit of that fog of war process. Is you don't quite know what you're up against, which is a nice touch. And there's a lot of strategy to that, but it's simple. And I like with the card play in June especially, there's ways you can pull a fast one by essentially putting shields out, and you run the risk of you using laser guns. You can hit the shields, and then it's game over for everyone. There's lots of, I just like that. Throw in the traitor mechanisms amongst that sort of rule system that you can also do the betrayal side of it. And it's a real rich bit of conflict and great bit of the game. It really kind of thematically kind of oof. It was borrowed again by Jamie and stuck into Scythe, and maybe even used a little bit of Kemet's as well, fight system, which is a similar-ish, not quite as complex and nuanced. But yeah, that June battle system, brilliant bit of thing, thematically great, neat, and ties up with the whole themes of the game. And it's a really simple but really kind of complex fight system. And I like fight system games, but often they just overcook it. TI4, I think, has got maybe the sweet spot when it comes to dice rolling. It's pretty straightforward, but bits coming off of it with the card play can be a bit complicated. Star Wars Rebellion was a mess, and they tweaked it and fixed it a bit. That was better. And then Forbidden Stars had a fantastic fight mechanisms in that game, but it just went on forever. And kind of dragged it down over 2 players. If 2 players may be word, but more than that, you just, oh my god. So yes, the June fight mechanism stuff like that. Number 3 is Robinson Crusoe, which is a bastard of a game. It's a vicious, horrid fucking game, but it's got a really cool mechanism in it. When you're going for the adventure decks and searching for your stuff, you're making decisions. And this is kind of legacy-ish. Before Legacy really, is that you can pull a card, make a decision, and you can maybe go and climb that tree, and you're going to get a splinter in your big toe, and you'll put a marker on your card, on your character sheet, to show that's what injury you sustained from that, and then that card is shuffled back into the events deck. Should it ever reappear, subtly, there's a good chance that your toe has become septic and other horrible things. I love that risk reward. It was that Legacy-ish feel before Legacy kind of came along. And it just a little bit more story, a little bit more nuance to that game, which is a very thematically rich vicious bastard of a game. I love it. It's kind of complex. It's a fucker to teach, which is why I really wanted to pick up the teaching guide thing they did with the recent Game Found thing. But it was silly expensive. But anyway, Robinson Crusoe, brilliant. It's actually, I think it's undiced. Maybe I'll give that a pop. I think it was that. Maybe I dreamt that. Did I dream that? Possible. Number 4 on the thing that I like, the mechanism thing, is from Dead of Winter, back in the mists of time. What a great thing was the Crossroads cards. Again, kind of throwing in a little bit of that legacy-ish feel, kind of something in there going on. Really good idea, the Crossroads cards, is there's a deck of cards that are triggered every turn you take one of these and you hold it and you look at it and the player takes some actions, and potentially something they do during their turn will trigger that card, either related to the characters they're playing or an action they take or whatever, which then has an effect on the game. Yes, they didn't always work all the time, because there could be moments of time where the right character wasn't out, or the right event didn't happen, or the right choice wasn't made and they didn't trigger. But then, fine, you know what, that could have been overcooked and been too much. But that core thing of something might happen, that unknown, or it might be, or options you got of like, oh, should we bring more characters back, or should we do this? Lots of cool little things like that. I really enjoyed the crossbows mechanism, really good. And it kind of shame that it never really went anywhere, because we had Gen 7 that came out, which was supposedly crossbow related, and it's one that I own, and I've never got to play it actually, because it's a bit just all of it was a bit much. Rules heavy when I first looked at it, and I just couldn't get my enthusiasm up for it. It's sat up there. I will play it at some point maybe, and it had kind of legacy feels to it. But yeah, not as good. And then we had Forbidden Waters, I think it was, which was great, but the Crossbows cards were hidden in the app, so they didn't have that impact. They didn't really have that same feel of that card player, that thing being pulled and something happening. But yes, Crossroads cards from Dead of Winter. Really cool little neat mechanism. It kind of never really went anywhere. Number 5 on this list, and things, is going to be Hidden Traitors. I love a Hidden Traitor in a game. Now, obviously Dead of Winter, we mentioned, has that mechanism in it. Battlestar Galactica is another one that has those Hidden Traitors. There's others out there. That nice moment of where that's going on, simmering behind the scenes of a game, adds just a level of tension to it. And especially that is there or isn't there, that the Thing style of level of paranoia, which is a cracking movie and a very good game. I like The Thing, Outpost 31, and I'm looking forward to the new one. Hopefully it's as good. But anyway, yes, that Hidden Traitor thing, that moment where there's someone at it, and if you're the trader, you can get up to mischief, and that can be quite a satisfying watch the world burn. But also that whole, it's a lovely emotion that only Hidden Traitor games can have, is that level of paranoia and distrust at the table when you're doing stuff. It's great. It works so well on board games. Only board games can really do that really well, and it is great. If you love them, I love them dearly. That whole, that moment, especially the reveal, just a moment, brilliant moments at your table, which this should all be about. So then 5 or so things that I really just miff me off, just get on my tits in regards to board game mechanisms or stuff that I just go, oh, well. So number 1 on that one is going to be the curse cards in Dominion. Now, I'm not averse to you getting negative points into your hand, which is fine, and that be an offshoot of whatever you're doing. However, there is a point if you're playing with certain cards in the Dominion decks which allow people to fire these curse cards at people. If people invest heavily in that, all they're doing is just splurging shit at you, lengthening the game and not gaining anything other than just fucking up your world, because then your hand is diluted with shit and it's just constant and you're constantly just dealing with that shit. Paul, we used to play a lot of games with, as a prime candidate for doing this level of nonsense. That thing, I don't mind the mechanism as such, but when it's in line with that and allows people that option to do that level of stuff, it doesn't become fun. It just becomes oh, fuck me, it's annoying. I want to punch you right in the fucking, that I don't like. Don't like it at all. Don't do that to me, ever. Miss a turn. What the we've surely moved on from this and miss a turn. Just that you do nothing. And it turns up, and it still turns up nowadays occasionally in stuff. It's in Fury of Dracula. I'm pretty certain it's in that. It's in Eldritch Horror. There's the kind of the option of just not having anything there. That moment where you go to your turn and you basically do nothing. Just anything other than doing nothing. Just, ugh. We're in the modern age now. Do better, okay? Do better. Just, you know, pointless first player selections. You read a rule book and then we have this jokey, haha, oh, you know, this thing, the first player will be the person who had a big wank this morning. I don't know. It's something like that. Took the biggest shit. Use Twazi, okay? Really simple. Roll a die, anything. Just don't, that. Just no. It's not big. It's not clever, and it's often pointless. Real time in games. Now, much as I'm preempting this, much as I do find it hard, and some people just break. Paul, or I brought up earlier in this list, cannot function with a real time game at all. He is AP strewn, and the force of a real time decision on him in at a point just breaks him. However, I will preempt this. Just, you know, put this to a side here. Of two games that, even though they are real time, I still like them. Is Millennium Blades, which is just, oh my god, frantically fucking deranged, brilliant. It's a work of absolute, it's like brain alchemy. It's just fucking amazing. But it also hurts me very much, and it has this real time market thing, and so I take that and it's cool. And to a lesser extent, it's kind of cool, is XCOM from Eric Lang. That kind of urgency of stuff going on and you have to deal with it. But I kind of like it when you're playing it, when you got into it. It's kind of cool. It works in that thing. But anyway, real time in games, most of the time it's just a bear of a fucking pain in the ass, because you've got rules in games are kind of evolved, and yet we know it's like you teach a game, you're playing a game, you get especially new people playing it. There's always those, we need to go to the rule book. Can you do that? And you throw that into real time when that's happening, then fuck me, disaster waiting to happen. Now, as I say, Millennium Blades kind of works because it's just you're buying cards, so you don't have time to think. Escape the Temple to a lesser degree but it does still fall into these traps. And XCOM actually is a fucking disaster if you take that. And it's that whole thing of trying to teach it and then do it and then play it. They only really work once you've played it twice or three times in quick succession. Then you can enjoy it. And if you add any over amount of kind of complexity to it, it's just a recipe for disaster. Which is a shame, because I know there was that U-boot game, which looked amazing. If you piloting a U-boat under the waters and all having different powers and abilities, but it was all real time. I can just imagine it'd be a fucking car crash. But it's a great idea. It's a great idea, just doesn't work most of the time. Just doesn't work. So I will usually avoid them because it's just a headache for me, because I have to be there doing the raw thing and everyone's breaking down and it's a mess. But you get what I'm coming from. And then finally, I will say it's point salads. Points, just interminable point scoring for the fucking sake of it. It kind of opaques the end of a game in a lot of these Euros, a massed amount of all this Stefan Feldy points. The problem is you've got no way of really gauging where anyone is. There's no real, you're just kind of dealing with your own shit. You can't even look across and go, well, I think I know roughly they're scoring that, or then maybe it's just, and then how satisfying is that? Oh, you did better math than me, you win. Fuck off. No, I don't mind Euros. Some Euros, as long as you can telegraph, you can at a glance, if you look at the board and go, okay, well, they're up on that track, I know they're going to score. Whether you can do the math, fine. But as long as you can glance at that and go, I can understand that where they are, there, and there, that is giving them points more than me. I hate that whole, well, you won because you did more shit over more stuff. I don't even know. The math is in your favour. May the math be with you. Can't be doing that shit. Just no. Just clearly defined guidelines. Where are we going? It's nice to get it off your chest, isn't it? So there you go. There is some of my favourite stuff from board games and some of the stuff that really grates my shit. If that's a thing. Don't know what you would grate it on. Anyway, what are your best board game things? What do you like the most? Shiny stuff. And what's the stuff that absolutely fucking gets on your wick? There must be some out there. I've been Mike B. This has been a list to get more people to click on the channel. Thanks for sharing, liking, subscribing, all that stuff. If you've been doing that for a while, well done you. Good work. Carry on the good work and all that stuff. And that's it for me. I'll be back soon, probably with another list, because, you know, it's a long month. See you soon. Have fun. Stay safe out there. Ta-da.